I first started competing, I was doing powerlifting and kind of got to a max out point. I'd been plateauing for like about 6 months. My weights weren't really going up. And I knew my shape was kind of coming together, and my friend that was also going to my powerlifting gym was like, oh, I'm doing a figure competition. I was like, oh, that's weird, what's that? And she kind of opened my eyes to it, and I was like, oh, I'll look into this bodybuilding thing. When I did start looking into it, the people that I was training with, they actually said, you're not going to be able to do it. Like, your shapes, like, your body is like too big for bikini, or you're holding too much fat here, or you need to build a little bit more. And I was like, I'm gonna prove you wrong. And I did it anyway, and I loved my first competition. And then that was in like April of 2015, and then I did this September and October shows of 2015, and I won my pro card. And then I went to Las Vegas and I came second in Angels, and I got on stage as pro bikini, and I was like, I did it, yeah.
I was a competitive endurance runner.
Ex-hockey player.
Grew up playing rugby league.
I played soccer, I sailed.
Martial arts, soccer, cricket, rugby.
Been into fitness all my life. I was a competitive endurance runner, so from the age of 8 I was competing for school and districts for running. I got into gym work when I was 13, and I was competing as a runner for a long time, transitioned into lifting heavier, and then one day someone said to me, you should do bodybuilding, and it's all gone on from there, and I've spent the last 5 years competing.
So I always have played sports since I was young. My family's all very sports orientated. And then it just happened one day, I was walking back from the gym. Never a big lover of weights until just over 3 years ago. You know, I didn't much love a big cardio, but which is a bodybuilder's nemesis word. But yeah, just walking back from the gym, and something came into my mind, and that was it.
Okay, so I grew up playing rugby league from junior years all the way up to seniors. I sort of fell into the gym, I couldn't play football or couldn't play rugby league anymore. I think I was pretty consistent in the gym, and a PT asked me one time, have you ever thought about competing? Let it go for about a year, and then decided, all right, let's give it a crack. And yeah, haven't looked back since.
But I danced as in ballroom dancing and Latin American for many years, since I was about 6 years old till in my 20s. So I did well at that, but never hit the top. And one of the critiques that I always got was I was too muscly. So I was always afraid to lift weights because of that, because I saw a negativity around that. So after the 3 kids, obviously I was carrying a little bit of weight. So I got back into fitness and just doing like boot camps and things like that. And even just from doing boot camps, I put on a little bit of muscle, and just the local PT that I was using said, you should really lift weights. And I was like, no way, I'll get too muscly, I'll get bulky, the stereotypical thing. Anyway, he convinced me to come to a strength class, and so I just did some like group strength training for a while, and I just loved it. Like, I just got addicted. As soon as I touched the barbells and the dumbbells, that was it, I was hooked.
I have been training since I moved to Brisbane, which was back in 2010. On and off really, but I only started getting serious when I decided that I wanted to take this to another level. and I got actually diagnosed with type 1 diabetes back in 2019, and that's when I started to really dial it in with my nutrition and my training, and I decided that it would be a great idea to compete. And also my partner is a competitor, so it's a real driver to be able to step up on stage.
I first started training in 2013. Before that, I was into sports as a young kid. I did soccer and athletics. I then ended up actually going on a bit of a downwards path and ended up becoming very overweight. And my brothers kind of got me into the gym, and I have never looked back. Training now for about 8 or 9 years. And competing for 4 years now.
So I've actually strength trained for at least 12 years, and ironically I strength trained for injury prevention to support my triathlon and running and duathlon career. It just gave me something to look forward to, yeah. I ended up injured, and that took me back to the gym for rehab and more consistent probably 4 years ago. And at age 44 was when I first decided to have a go at stepping on stage, because I felt I had no other sport that I could do. Yeah. And I'd sort of go to places and people would ask me if I competed, which I thought was a bit strange. So that's where the seed was planted. My husband always wanted me to give bodybuilding a go, and I just didn't think it was for me. But it's always about timing. So divine timing, about 4 years ago, we started.
And I basically got involved in weight training pretty much because I was playing around in a gym on a military base. A soldier was training in the gym, part of that gym, and suggested to me, he saw me kicking and punching a kick bag to doing my martial arts, and he said, would you like to really train? And I was 15 at the time, and I said, yeah, sure. And my first session in the gym, I trained with this soldier, and we trained for about 2 hours. Never lifted a weight before in my life, so it was a baptism of fire. And I was sore so much the next day I couldn't move, to the point that I couldn't go to school. So I limped down to the gym, I showed up, and I said, look, my mum said I can't train, and he basically said, well look, just go through it tonight, it'll loosen everything up and you'll feel better. So I followed his advice, not my mum's advice unfortunately, and I went through and trained, and everything loosened up, and then I was back the night after that, the night after that, the night after that, and I was hooked.